I used to work with this lady, and she told me and one other person in her training class that both of us would be absolutely useless our first year. And spoiler alert, she was wrong. We caught on. I think it took like a couple of months or so for us to actually start doing the job, or at least start doing a good amount of the job. But the point is, is it was the way she said it where I was just kind of like, what does she mean absolutely useless? It was just weird. Now, she wasn't a mean person or anything like that, and she was always very helpful. And she was the person who could handle the most complicated issues that a customer would have or a client would have. And it wasn't even close. She was the most knowledgeable in our department, wasn't even close. She was the most knowledgeable in departments she didn't even work in, and it wasn't even close. I mean, this lady had knowledge, like an infinite amount of knowledge, as far as data analytics and things like that. But when she would speak to clients, she always she would cut them off. She would tell them they were wrong, like straight up. She would say, "You're wrong." But it was the way she said it. She was just so blunt, and she would talk over people all the time. And just her delivery was very harsh. But clients put up with her because she had the most knowledge, so they knew that if they had something that was nearly impossible to fix, she could do it. But I quickly started to notice that when it was time to get promoted, she would get skipped over. I mean, and she worked there for a long time. And so I was surprised that she was in the position she was in because she just worked there for so long and she had so much knowledge. Now, I will say this, our boss was a prick, but she was just so good at her job. There's no reason why she shouldn't have been up much higher than she was, but it was just her delivery and her how blunt she was, and just the way she came off that I truly believe, well, I shouldn't even say I believe, I know hindered her. And the only reason I bring this up is because, yes, it's great to be knowledgeable, but the people who were liked at that company I worked for, and then the last company in my previous company, the people who are liked are the ones who get promoted. The knowledgeable ones get skipped over all the time. If you are not liked, people will pick the second or third or fourth best person at the job over you. They'd rather have somebody who's not as good but close enough and just deal with them because they're easier to work with. And it has nothing to do with being fake. You know, people will say things like, well, I'm just a realist. You know, I'm a realist. I speak my mind. I'm blunt. You know, that's just the way it is. I don't like to be fake. I don't like to be phony. That's not, no, you're coming off as not a very nice person. That's what it is. And there's a difference between confronting someone and having tough conversations and those types of things as opposed to just being a prick. You know what I mean? And those type people don't want to work with people like that. And you'll notice that people who are in higher up positions who are pricks, they know when to not act like a prick. They know how to turn that off real fast depending on who they're around. So unfortunately, it's just corporate, it's a game, but being liked is just so important. And yes, it's draining, and yes, it sucks, but if you want to get promoted, that's at the top of the list.